This is the FFR Trading Market Minute, and I'm starting this week with the monthly chart of the SPY. That's the ETF again for the S&P 500. We track week to week here as a proxy for the overall stock market. And you can see we had Nvidia's came out with their earnings last night and blew both the revenue and earnings expectations out of the water. And we had a big outside gap up on the daily chart. And you can see this on the monthly chart, how we've closed, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 months now. And we're close to the end of this month, but it looks promising that we'll close this month in the positive territory as well. But if we look at our RSI here, all right, this oscillator is in overbought territory at the moment. And sometimes when we see that, like we did back here, you get pretty much an immediate reaction, right? Correction. Right. Other times, like back here, we got overbought, here, and we had several months go by before we had any kind of pullback. But what happened is we got another higher high here, and you see the oscillator set up the divergence. So we had a lower high here in the oscillator while price was making a higher high, and then we got a major correction there. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. So we certainly could have several months of continued follow through here, but we'll see in the oscillator here if we do set up some divergence or if we start a correction, maybe after this month. But let's go to the weekly chart here. Just gonna kind of back down. Here we've got we were in overbought territory here. We've now made a higher high, so you can see the oscillator is not following on the weekly chart here. So already some divergence potentially setting up there. We'll see where the month closes and how this looks. And then down to the daily chart here. Again, here's this nice outside gap up. Right now, this gap was so big, right? Usually when you get an outside gap up, as long as the gap is inside the average true range for that market, the tendency is it will continue to trend higher. But when the gap is so big, and it's basically already run the ATR when the market opens. In other words, all the institutions have done the work overnight, and they leave it, in the morning when the market opens. It's retail that's just kind of slogging it out, and you kind of get a sideways, type of action there. But anyway, so we do have some divergence setting up on the daily chart here. So we had a peak in the RSI here. Obviously, now we've made this higher high. Right, so here's our peak back here, and now we've made a higher high. But at this point, we'll see again how things close. But our RSI is not making a new high yet. All right, but we'll watch this. If we do get the RSI in overbought territory, it could be the start of a correction. But it could also mean that we don't have divergence, and there may be still more upside and strength ahead. All right, so we'll keep an eye on this. Just to peek at the daily VIX chart here, and you can see the VIX has, kind of held this trend line, and as prices pull back, we're getting a series of higher highs here. So you can see the gap down as the S&P/Y or SPY has gapped up today. Look for a test, perhaps, of this trend line support. We'll see if that holds. You can see we got oversold at these a lot of these lows here, and that may be coinciding with some reversal in the market. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. Economic data set for release next week. Wednesday's gross domestic product. Thursday we've got core personal consumption expenditures, and on Friday at 10 a.m. ISM manufacturing PMI. Hope that helps. Have a great rest of your trading week. We'll see you back next week in the FFR Trading Market Minute.